The St. Louis Cardinals head to LA, but the Dodgers, just like the Cardinals, haven't had the greatest of starts to their season either. What to expect this weekend in Hollywood on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment. That way you can interact with us. Have had some very good discussions with Cardinals Nation on the YouTube channel. So don't be shy. Come on down there, leave some comments, hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is the show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So I want to start the show with something fun. Lars Nootbaar, we've talked since he's been brought up to the Cardinals how he needs to get his own candy bar. It looks like it has finally come to fruition. If you haven't seen the commercial for the new Lars Nootbaar candy bar or protein bar, whatever the heck it is, go to our Twitter feed at LO_Cardinals. That has been retweeted there. You can watch it until your heart's content because it's funny. Just to give you a little smidge of what he does. Nootbaar! That's his thing. It's so great. I can't get enough of it. It's so funny. So that was fun to see this morning. Also, let's go with the good, the bad, and the ugly from the series that just wrapped up in San Francisco. Let's knock this out before we start talking about LA. So the Cardinals ended what was an overall disappointing series against the Giants, but they ended it on a good note yesterday with that solid team victory on Thursday. And this isn't anything new for the team in 2023. They've had a lot of success in the last game of a series against their opponents this year. We all know about how they've never won a series opener yet. They're 0-8, a streak that we hope will get snapped tonight. But in the final game of a series this year, they're 6-2, having lost to only the Braves and the Brewers. What happens in this last game that isn't happening in the opening games or in the middle games is beyond me. I don't have an answer for you why it takes them until the end of the series to actually play well, to play like the team we thought we would see this season. But each game they win at the end of it, it kind of reinvigorates myself because you start to feel good about the team and it reinvigorates the fan base and kind of gives us hope that despite this team being 10-16 and in last place in the NL Central, this isn't really a team that should be where they are. They're better than this. And if you don't believe me, just go ask anyone else who isn't a Cardinals fan what they think about the St. Louis Cardinals. The overwhelming response, at least in my goings on with other people and interactions with other people about Major League Baseball this year, I get the same response. I get they're going to be fine. They'll bust out of this. They're the St. Louis Cardinals. They're always good. And these are people who have no interest in the St. Louis Cardinals being good at all. These are guys and gals that root for the Cubs and for the Reds and the Pirates and the Brewers, guys who want to see the Cardinals fail and are loving the fact that they have so far this year, but at the same time are completely faithful and are like, they're going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about this right now. All around us on Cardinals message boards and in chats and stuff, you see a lot of negativity towards this team, and it's mostly by Cardinals fans. It's not from other people. Locked On MLB meeting on Thursday. Was talking with some of them, and before yesterday's game even happened, and the other hosts were all saying similar things. They were saying, and I know that this drives the fans nuts, but they're saying, guys, it's early, stay patient. They were using more foul language than that because they think it's silly that us as Cardinals fans are freaking out already this year. And maybe it is a little bit, but again, we're not used to losing. So, but the Cardinals aren't the only ones who have had a disappointing April so far. A lot of teams who had higher expectations, just like the Cardinals, have fallen flat here in April. The Dodgers are one of them. They're 13-13 on the year. We're going to talk more about them later in the show. The Phillies are 13-13. The Padres are 13-14. The White Sox are 7-19. Cleveland is 12-13. By the way, AL Central is terrible so far this year. Seattle, despite not looking so bad against the Cardinals, they're only 11-14. Should all of these teams just pack it up, sell off their players, and punt on 2023 just because of what's happening in April? Hell no. Hell no. And Cardinals fans, you shouldn't either. Okay? And I think that yesterday's game is another glimpse into why you shouldn't. They beat a solid starter in Logan Webb. Logan Webb is not some scrub. This guy was 15-9 last year, 11-3 the previous year, and he looked good yesterday. It's not like Logan Webb struggled yesterday. He looked really, really good, but the Cardinals beat him. He's now 1-5 on the season this year. I'll give you that. But again, Logan Webb would probably be the ace of the Cardinals staff if you stuck him on this team, would he not? So that's my good from this series that we just saw. Despite the soul-crushing loss on Tuesday, which stings, yesterday's win showed that what we call in the wrestling business is some testicular fortitude by this team, and they beat a very good pitcher on a day when all of the momentum was going for San Francisco. Like everything coming into that game said Giants. Everything about it. They'd won 5 in a row. Their best pitchers on the mound. Cardinals are struggling. And the Cardinals turn around and shut them out 6-0. Miles Michaelis, outstanding against the team that thrives on the long ball. Had crushed the Cardinals this series by hitting the ball over the wall, which we warned you they're really good at. And we know Miles gives up the big flyers a lot, but he didn't. He didn't on Thursday. He kept the ball in the ballpark. He was efficient. He looked confident. That's the guy this team needs going forward. They've been looking for him. And outside of this game, and I guess that game against Pittsburgh, they haven't seen the really good Miles Michaelis yet. Hopefully we get more of him in the future. I cannot say enough about the play that Andrew Kisner made on YouTube. I've got a picture of it posted right now. You can see it. I cannot say enough about this play from Andrew Kisner. The play at home plate that genuinely saved the day. Because, again, as I said in yesterday's episode, that is a play that normally 99.9% of the time does not go the Cardinals' way. A little dinker in front of the plate with the bases loaded, the way things have been going, that run scores. It sets them into the avalanche of bad things happening, and that's how they would lose that game. But instead, Kisner, cat-like reflexes, jumps from behind the plate, grabs it, dives back, tags the runner before he hits home plate. Fantastic stuff. Just an outstanding effort by a guy who doesn't get to play a lot. And to see that effort from him, it deserves recognition. Like, well done, Andrew Kisner, who also had a hit in this game, by the way. The hustle on the ground ball by Edman to beat out the double play and extend the inning, which scored another run. Arenado's hustle, scoring from first on the Carlson double. It's the little stuff that this team did in this game on Thursday that they haven't been doing all season that has led them to this grotesque record that they have. And Ollie said just as much after the game. This was the quote from John Denton at MLB.com. That's what Cardinals baseball is supposed to look like. You think of some of the small details and nuances of the game. There's a lot of positive things that came out of today, but that's the style of baseball we need to play. And to that, I say, amen, brother. Amen. That's what I want to watch. I don't have to see home runs every inning. That's fine. I don't care about that. But I want to see the little stuff done right. And I think Cardinals Nation is the same way. We just want to see good baseball. If you lose, but you're playing hard and you do the little things right, it happens. That's baseball. But when all of the little mistakes and all the dumb things keep happening, and some of them, not your fault, but a lot of them are, that's when people start to get fed up. Yesterday was a great win, and the guys should be proud of it, and I hope it carries over into the weekend against LA. Now, the bad for this weekend, in my opinion, allowing the San Francisco Giants to steal bases the way they did, that was something I did not see coming. The Giants had 11 stolen bases coming into the series, and they stole 6 against the Cardinals, and they did it actually in 3 games because they didn't have any on Monday. They stole 1 on Tuesday, 3 on Wednesday, 2 more on Thursday, and they're stealing them off the pitchers. Like you can't yell at Contreras and Kisner for these guys getting those massive jumps. That's not their fault. You can't throw anybody out with that. You cannot be so predictable to the plate that guys are just running on you before you even start your windup. Like, that's silly. The steal off Michaelis yesterday, where he just took off and then beat Michaelis stepping off and throwing to second, was just embarrassing. Like, that can't happen, guys. Got to fix that. And then the ugly, and I think everybody will agree on this one, the defense in this series was bad. It was ugly. It wasn't even just bad. It was ugly. Sure, there were a couple nice plays, okay? Granted. But the Cardinals have prided themselves on stellar defense for years. And they've got a Gold Glover winner in left field, at third base, shortstop, second, and first base on most nights. And in this series, the defense just imploded with costly mistakes and errors that led to runs, that led to losses in all 3 games. You just got to clean that stuff up to win at this level. You cannot afford to give any team, I don't care if it's the Oakland A's, you cannot give them free runners and free runs, especially when you're scuffling and you're not playing good baseball like this team has been in April. Like, you're going to lose because of that. The Cardinals are going to battle the Dodgers this weekend, a team that has underperformed on the field thus far in 2023. How not having any issues performing over the All-Star break last year has contributed a little bit to their slow start this year. I'll explain what I'm talking about next on Locked On Cardinals. Buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. It should be fun. You should be excited about picking up tickets to your favorite sporting event or concert, comedy show, whatever it is you're going to. And Gametime is going to help with that. It's the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all of these events, whether you want to go to the theater, whatever you're going to. With great deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you're going to have. Forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, all of it. They've got you covered. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section and same row for less, Gametime, not going to let that slide. They're going to credit you 110% of the difference. That's 110%. Tickets are sent directly to your phone. You don't have to fumble through your email, try to find them anymore. Get the tickets without the stress. You can do it with Gametime. Download their app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code, which is LOCKEDONMLB, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The Cardinals are in Los Angeles this weekend to battle the Dodgers. Jack Flaherty will be back on the bump tonight, and you can catch every single pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. The Dodgers have, like the Cardinals, had an underwhelming start to 2023. It hasn't been quite as bad as the Cardinals have been going through. The Dodgers are 13-13, just floating at 500. And that's not what a team that boasts a $227.5 million payroll is expecting. Now, they've got a lot of familiar names: Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Clayton Kershaw, JD Martinez, Julio Urias, Noah Syndergaard, that son of a gun, Chris Taylor, who smashed Cardinals fans' hearts and ended Alex Reyes' career with St. Louis in the wildcard game a couple of years back. Reyes is on their roster. He's still hurt from last year, so he hasn't done anything with them yet. They've got former Cardinals Jason Hayward and Shelby Miller. Shelby Miller is on the Dodgers as a relief pitcher. I still have a pair right over there of autographed Shelby Miller game-used spikes from spring training down in Jupiter when he was still a top prospect with the team many, many moons ago. I was like, you know what? I'm going to grab these. I won them in an auction. I think I paid $300 for them. And I was like, these are going to be worth something one day. This is going to be the future superstar pitcher for the Cardinals. Didn't quite work out that way. Still got the spikes. Probably not worth $300 anymore, but I still got them. So what's been going on in LA? Well, I spoke with Locked On Dodgers host Jeff Snyder, who unfortunately is dealing with strep throat at the moment, or he'd be on the show with me right now talking about them. But he said there's been a number of different reasons why the Dodgers haven't lived up to expectations. Number one has been the injuries. They just got pitcher Tony Gonsolin back from the injured list, hadn't thrown all year yet. Walker Buehler, one of their best young pitchers, one of the best young pitchers in baseball, is out after having Tommy John surgery last year. He probably won't pitch with them at all this season. All-star catcher Will Smith, he's been dealing with a concussion issue. Their shortstop, who was supposed to take over after Trey Turner signs with Philadelphia, Gavin Lux, tore his knee in the spring. He's out for the year. They've been without relievers like Blake Trinan, Daniel Hudson, Jimmy Nelson, JP Fireeisen. All of these guys have been out. They're still paying former Cy Young Award winner Trevor Bauer $22 million to play overseas in Japan now. They've had some issues. Number two, the team has had a very curious number of players go on paternity leave this year. And if you trace, it's kind of funny, if you trace back to what happened 9 months ago. So go ahead, if you want to do the math real quick. 9 months ago, what was going on in LA? Does anybody remember All-Star Weekend? Because that's what was happening. MLB All-Star Game was in LA last year, 9 months ago at this time. Must have been a hell of a weekend for the guys and their wives because they performed, quotations, so well that now a few of these guys have had to miss some time recently this season. So their paternity list so far has had Max Muncy on it, who has been absolutely raking for this team this year. Unfortunately, he should be back from the list this weekend to face the Cardinals. Mookie Betts went on April 18th. Evan Phillips went on April 20th. Brusdar Graterol went on when Phillips came back. Caleb Ferguson is expected to go on here real soon. Former Dodger and now Cub, Cody Bellinger, he went on the list for Chicago. Like, I've never seen anything like that. MLB roster rules state that a player that goes on the paternity list is required to miss a minimum of 1 day but can't be away from the team for more than 3 days, which has caused a lot of roster shuffling for the Dodgers. Snyder from Locked On Dodgers also said after that issue with the injuries and the paternity list stuff that the only questions will be whether the bullpen can perform. They haven't been good. And how long the team is going to pretend that Noah Syndergaard is still a major league pitcher and how long they pretend Trace Thompson is ever going to hit. Trace Thompson had 1 game this year, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, something like that. Something crazy. Maybe it was like 7 RBIs, but hasn't done anything else after that. Noah Syndergaard's been very, very bad. Offensively, I mentioned Muncy, who MLB Network, they just released their latest rankings of MLB hitter power rankings, so individual hitters. Max Muncy is their number 3 MLB hitter, behind Mike Trout and Ronald Acuna Jr. Who saw that coming? Max Muncy's been, okay, a solid hitter, but all of a sudden, just putting up just crazy numbers. The dude leads the league with 11 home runs and slugging at .718 and an OPS at 1.129. Max Muncy has 18 hits on the year, and 11 of them have cleared the wall. 11 of them. That is nuts. Steady Freddie Freeman over at first base. Slow start, 287, 4 dingers, just 9 RBIs. Mookie Betts has not done much at all. 233, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and they've been moving him all over the place. Outfield, second. He's played some shortstop this year. The name that maybe you're not familiar with, you better keep an eye on him this weekend. Outfielder James Outman, hitting 287, 7 home runs, 19 RBIs. He's somebody who can do some damage. Overall, the Dodgers are second in the league in home runs, but they're 26th in batting average at 223. They're 5th in the league in RBIs, tied for 7th in runs, but 2nd in the league in strikeouts. So kind of like how the Giants were, they rely on the long ball. So if you can keep them in the ballpark, you're going to have a very good chance at beating them. They haven't run that much this season, only 11 steals, but neither did the Giants until the Cardinals came to town, and you saw what they did. Muncy, Freeman, and Outman, all left-handed hitters. Lefties are hitting 261 off the Cardinals as a team, which is the 8th highest average allowed. So those 3 hitters are certainly an area that is going to require some added attention this weekend. Meanwhile, pitching-wise, the staff has a worse ERA than the Cardinals at 4.72. They've only struck out 209 hitters, which is 24th in the league. They don't walk a lot of guys, just 66, which is the 3rd lowest in the league, but they've been very hittable, just like the Cardinals. They've allowed 232 hits, which is the 7th most. Cardinals are at number 3 at 241, so not a huge difference there, but they'll give up some hits. They've allowed 30 home runs. The Cardinals have allowed 31. So you can take them deep. And it's been it's not just like the starters have been bad and then the bullpen's been bad, has been okay, or vice versa. Both sides have had their issues. Starters, their ERA is 15th in the league, right in the middle at 4.42. Relievers at 26th at 5.18. So if you can get into their bullpen and do it earlier rather than later, they're a very beatable team, at least right now. We're going to talk about pitching matchups next, and I'll let you know how Jordan Walker did since being demoted. We'll talk about that next here on Locked on Cardinals. If you love baseball and you love video games, that's what I do. I love both of those. Be sure to check out Pro Baseball GM. Combines your dream of being a Major League GM with the fun and enjoyment of a video game. You're going to be in charge of managing every strategic aspect of your team. You'll play through a season, try to lead your team to glory, or you get fired because you're not very good at it. But hey, you got to give it a try. And it's free, which is great. Hire the right coaching staff, hire the manager, deal with the finances, scouting, drafting, free agency, all the fun stuff that goes along with being a GM. You get to do it here in this challenging and realistic game world. Yeah, like I mentioned, completely free. Ultimate Baseball GM also is playable offline, which means you can play it as much as you want, anywhere you want. Whether you're in a car, whether you're on the plane, at the airport, whatever you're doing, if you're doing any sort of traveling this spring or summer, it's right there on your phone and you just boop, load it up and it's ready to go. Locked on Cardinals listeners, how about 100% free boost to your franchise? Would you like that? Use the promo Locked On in the game store in all caps, Locked On. So make sure to check it out and download the game. Just visit probaseballgm.com. You can also scan the code. If you're watching on YouTube, I got that below here, or look it up in the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. The Cardinals are in L.A. this weekend to battle the Dodgers over the weekend, and Jack Flaherty against Dustin May will be your pitching matchup tonight. And you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Dustin May, I'm going to put a picture of him up here on YouTube real quick. Dustin May has got some of the filthiest stuff in the entire league. Like, he can be so nasty. He's 6'6", but he's thin. He's 180, and he's got this wild, crazy carrot top red hair flowing out of his hat, just blowing in the wind all the time. He's got amazing break on his breaking pitches. Like, they just move all over the place. He's only had really one bad outing this year against the Mets, but outside of that, been pretty darn good. The strikeout numbers are a bit low for the kind of stuff that he's walked here. I was a bit surprised by this. His last 3 starts, just not a lot of Ks. But he has been walking hitters. That seems to be a little bit of a problem. Let's see. He walked, I don't know, what is it, like 7 or 8 guys in the last 3 games, somewhere in there. So maybe patience will be the key against him tonight. I know that the Cardinals in that series against the Giants, it looked like they were trying to jump on some of these guys early because they throw a lot of strikes, which the Dodgers do too. So maybe that's something. Just show a little patience tonight. Let's see, make him throw strikes before you start, flailing at these breaking pitches, because he's got some good ones. By the way, tonight's game is going to be on Apple TV Plus. I don't know how that works for you, but heads up on that. Saturday, they got 3-time Cy Young Award-winning left-hander Clayton Kershaw going up against the Cardinals. He's having an outstanding start to the season. 4-1, ERA 2.32. The dude's tough. We know this. We've seen him a bazillion times over his career. But Cardinals have found some success against him, especially in the postseason, and they love to hit left-handers. So something's going to have to give in this one on Saturday. Jordan Montgomery, fellow left-hander, will be pitching for the Cardinals then. And Sunday, your matchup has Jake Woodford against Noah Syndergaard, a.k.a. Thor. And Thor, as he used to be called, I don't know if he still is, has been awful in Los Angeles this year. He's 0-3, ERA at 6.58. There are no excuses in this one for the offense to not absolutely hammer Thor into oblivion. That should be the plan. Just destroy this dude. Jordan Walker got sent down on, what was that, Wednesday? And in his debut at the Class AAA level with Memphis, let's see, hitless in 4 at-bats, 2 groundouts. He struck out twice. They want him to work on his launch angles. I mean, he's hitting the ball on the ground too much. They don't like it. I get it. They want to see more pop out of him, and so that's why he's down there. And the lack of playing time in the major leagues gave them an opportunity to say, you know what, why don't you go down there and work on that stuff? We want to see what the other outfielders have up here. So that's the choice they made. So we'll keep an eye on his progress. Once again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. To my everydayers, a minor league report is coming. We're going to do this either Monday or Tuesday. Kind of depends on Lindsey Crosby's schedule. Lindsey's the Locked On MLB Prospects host, and he'll be joining me on Monday or Tuesday, and he's going to give us a rundown. I know he specifically wants to talk about pitching because he's seen the issues that the Cardinals have had at the major league level, and they've had some good starts down at the minor leagues. Matthew Liberatore has looked really, really good. So could he be someone that can jump up and help this team out here in the near future? We'll talk with Lindsey about that. Once again, that's coming up either Monday or Tuesday. Be sure to catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast during the team series in LA. Once again, begins tonight with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Do it just to see the Lars Nootbaar commercial. Do it just for that. Like and subscribe on YouTube. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.